Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Peter Kennedy, Kennedy's Garage. What we have today, I have done one of these videos before. I have a 2009 Honda Civic and she's an I-shift. So an I-shift is the automatic version of Honda Civic. What's actually happening to us? We have a crank no start ignition is on there, and we press the start button and we get kind of symbol up there flashing that normally tells us what gear we're in. But at this point, so if I move this over and back, it was normally giving us a gear or so. But at this point in time, we don't. So I'm going to show you where we're at. And why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video because the last one I done was 2 years ago, or that's what it tells me on YouTube, but I looked it up before I tackled this, and I have to say it's very, you'd think the time wouldn't move on and you wouldn't get maybe a little bit better at recording, but the camera was lengthways rather than the full screen and stuff. So what we have here, and I've done a little bit of looking on YouTube to see is there are other lads out there, and there's not a huge amount about it. There is, but I'm going to try to do this in a little bit more detail. I wouldn't say detailed, speedy or more efficient and blah, 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 blah. So where are we at? In the engine control module, we have a 15B8 starter control system high input. Then down in transmission and I-shift, I have clutch, a P0810 clutch operation problem. Now, that's the one that we are going to be focusing on today. When I see these clutch temperature too high over 300 degrees, over 400 degrees, it isn't that I'm not concerned with them right now, but my car won't start. So we can concern ourselves with these after we actually get the car running. Okay, even these ones, I'm not too bothered. FCAN, TCM, received invalid data. What I'm finding more and more lately is problem with the only all door locks. Again, it doesn't concern me right now. What battery and flatten this thing also, so I'm not just all that crack doesn't bother me. I'm only going after that P0810 that, okay, that one there. So that's what I'm going after now, and I'm going to try and show the repair process on this. Spent a long time on the last ones. On this one should be fairly fast. I'm going to get in, get it disassembled, and get it fixed. That's what I'm hoping for now. Okay, I'll show you where I'm going to go now in a second. Okay guys, what am I going to fast show you? So if I look down here, see if I can stick a light in there. There is, I'm just after taking a little bit of a pipe here around the battery, and you can see the clutch lever sitting just there, okay? And then we have a clutch slave cylinder just there. So that's the rubber cover on the actual slave cylinder itself, and that's the slave cylinder here. Now that is operated electronically, so rather than us inside in the car pressing a clutch, what we have here is a pipe coming out to down underneath the chassis deck here. We have an electric motor that is going to automatically force fluid over as far as this to press the clutch, and then she'll select gears and all that stuff. But this is done electronically via a motor that's sitting from the bottom now, we have to get at it, but it's down in that area, down underneath the headlight in that area, okay? What I'm going to do is you see that, a clutch actuator full stroke test. I'm going to do that, confirm the following conditions before this function. The foot brake are applied, the engine is not running, the gear shift is in neutral, the driver's door is not open, scanner will now prepare this TCU. Their door is closed. Well, is it 90% closed? Yeah, it's closed. I don't want the foot brake pressed. I'm hoping that doesn't bother the car too much, because I want to be able to catch this on, if I can, on camera out here. So we're going to continue and just see what happens. Please turn the ignition off and wait for the scanner to progress to the next screen. Jenny Mac. Okay, ignition off. As I said, the reason I'm doing it out here is just to let it be seen down here that this thing is not working. Now maybe you do or don't want to see this bit, but switch the ignition on. I thought I was going to do that now straight in rather than Okay, establishing TCU base conditions. It's telling us to apply the foot brake. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bar and I'm going to push it in so I can stay out here, okay? It's only an adjustable bar that I use to press the brake. That's what I'm putting in there now. The scanner has prepared the TCU for the test. Continue. Learning parameters failed. It actually moved, but learning parameters failed. One or more learned parameters out of range. Please recheck the hardware before restarting the learning procedure. Okay, don't know what that means, but we'll have to go and figure that thing out, won't we? Please check all the hardware before restarting the learning procedure. I didn't actually want to learn it. I was just trying to operate it. Maybe I pressed the wrong button. Anyway, come here, we'll get out of this thing and just have a look at it again. Clutch full stroke operation test. I think we're going to do this again. That's gear selectors. Please wait, scanner. To progress to the next screen. Well, what I'm believing is that a brush is for the motor to work this clutch slave cylinder. So the master cylinder that's over here is the brushes are burnt out in it or not doing their job. That's my belief. Now, you probably don't want to be sitting looking at this screen too much, but I don't think I'm I wouldn't say too bothered about it. It is going to be burnt out. The brushes are going to be burnt out. There's no doubt in my mind. It could be totally wrong. That's just me using my mechanic, technician experience, dare I say. And this is what I don't know. I'll switch the ignition off. Ricky, I didn't see that. Too busy talking. I'll do my bits and pieces, switch the ignition on, and then maybe I was saying I was going to get you back on. I do find sometimes that this is kind of long-winded, I would think. You don't want to be seeing this crack. I don't think you do, anyway. You can tell me in comments. Scanner has prepared. Test. Yeah, okay, right. I believe now what's happening here is we can't do it because this is seeing a problem here and it's not able to get it to operate. That's what I'm saying anyway, or thinking. So I think right now we're going to get this box that's down here out of it. Don't know. That's where I'm at anyway. That I'm, yeah, I'm going to do that. Maybe can it bleed? I'll go if I went to functional tests. There was a bleeding adjustment. Clutch fluid filling, clutch fluid air bleeding. I think we might try that and just see. Yeah, you don't need to read that. If you want to pause on it, you can. Please turn it in the Mac. Ignition off. Yeah, we're still waiting. What I'll do is I'm going to run through a little bit of mess in here. But then it's the fix of this thing is going to be the important bit, not this. I don't believe. All I'm doing is trying to prove for ye that I believe this thing is not doing its job and we are not going to see. It will start intermittently. So an odd time it'll start and then more times it won't. And I think it's just the brushes that are burnt out and this thing can't press the clutch. When it can't press the clutch, and when you look at this, it won't actually allow the starter motor relay to do its job. There's two of them in there on my last video, but that's my issue right now. Okay guys, I think I hit this on the last video, just now that I'm thinking about it, and I think I need to exit out and go back in, and I was swapping scan tools I think on the last video. So right now, yeah, look, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to get in, I'm going to get this module out from underneath and just see how the brushes burnt out on it. It's a very common problem, okay? That's why I'm making this decision. We're going to exit, get out of it, get back. I have cleared faults, so codes, I have cleared codes, and what I have is I have P0810 clutch operation problem, and that is there, persistent and not going away. Going to get in and get these brushes looked at, okay? Okay guys, from underneath I've taken down the under tray, and here is where the actual motor, pump, whatever you want to call it, for the clutch slave cylinder is. So what you have is a feed pipe coming down, if we can see it, can we? That one actually running down here. carries brake fluid down as far as this electronic master cylinder. Then the high pressure side comes out here, down around through flexible hose here, up and into the actual slave cylinder. Now, I believe what's happening here is our motor ran when I done the test to press out the slave cylinder, but stopped then because it lost connection or whatever it may be inside this thing through the brushes, and it couldn't leave the pressure off. So the motor has to turn again to apply the pressure and turn to leave the motor. The motor has to turn to leave the pressure off. So I'm going to get this box down out of here. There's a little bolt up here on the chassis leg. Battery tray has to come out of it, and a couple of bolts holding this box itself up above. Get the steel part down out of it. We can undo the back off it then at that stage, and we can take this thing apart, okay? That's the next ordeal. Get this thing down. So it's just inside, underneath the passenger's headlight, just inside the passenger front wheel. I'm going to get that out of it next. Okay, battery is taken out of it. Battery is taken out of it. The couple of bolts that were holding down the tray underneath it, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm about to take out a bolt just here on the bracket. We have another one sitting in between the chassis leg and the gearbox. I'm going to do that from underneath. I've also taken out a little piece of plastic here for my airbox. Simple. But we're starting to create a bit of room. You can see where that module actually is now on to the chassis leg in front of the gearbox there. Quite simple, quite easy to get out. I want to get this thing down in my hand. From underneath, guys, I've just pulled out a little bolt here, which is taking the flexible hose off. There's a little clip that sits just there, a screwdriver underneath. Pop that little clip out, that'll take out this heavy bit, and then I'm clamping the actual brake fluid feed to it just so I don't be leaking fluid out anymore. I'm going to pop off the hose, pop out this, and off we go then. Put out the one bolt up here, and the module will be in our hand then. Okay guys, I've pulled out, as I said there, the last couple of bolts. All we're doing is hanging on wiring loom at this point in time. So the box itself, I've pushed a couple of hoses and stuff up out of my way. The box itself, we've steel outer casing, and then we have a plastic inner bit housing what we need to get into. Now when you look around, you'd wonder how this thing comes out of it, but there's a bolt, the head of a bolt, or what would you call that, the tail of a bolt, I don't know, the end of a bolt anyway. And inside in here, there's a little cover, which I've just popped off it here. And in through that hole, I don't know, can we get to see this? In through that hole is where I'm going to go to take out that bolt. And once that bolt is out, that steel bracket will come off the actual plastic module, or the module will come out of the steel bracket, whatever way you want to call it. But I'm going to go in from here, down and in here. And this is the side closest to the wheel, okay? So I'm going to get that out of it and go again. Okay guys, bolt removed. It's a little size 10. It's an 8mm head, but it's size 10 on the other side. And there's our big lump of steel coming off. And now we're starting to get into the box. We, at this point in time, are going to take out a rank of size 10s around to take the cover off the back of it, and we can take the module out of the inside of it, okay? All relatively simple at this point in time. Okay lads, I've just pushed it apart to pull off the cover off the back of it, and I'm pulling in my actual module out of it. We have wires on the top. I've just fed the grommets in through the plastic box, and I'm now going to try and get out the actual tabs. She's actually, so a little bit of a steel yoke. It's feeding through kind of nice and handy. There's that's me only pulling off the second. So it's not great video recording, I get that there, but it's my hand wiggly and woggly. Whoop. Okay, right. Here is our module. Here is our motor. And there's brushes in here somewhere. Time to start the disassembling on this thing, okay? I was taking bolts out, but this bracket fell off. So the first thing I done was I took out 2 bolts. I was going to try and show you, but the minute I moved it, it fell asunder. Bolts to get the stuff out, bolts on disassembly. And here then, I'm taking off this actual module here. They're little 5-sided Torx with a little tab in the middle of them. So they're a little bit harder to get. These ones have have them, but I don't have a great set of them, but I'm going to show you what I have in a minute. Okay, guys, you can possibly make it out there, can you? This is it. Am I right? No. Wrong side ahead. This is a TS15H. It has the 5 sides and a hole in the middle. A little bit loose on it, but that's what I'm going to use now to take out these 8 or 10 bolts around it, okay? Just on a little screw gun. Here, whack it out, can't get the module off. Okay guys, once I pulled out all the rank bolts out of it, studs, screws, little wiring loom coming from the module side down and in and onto the motor. So this is the hydraulic master cylinder. This is going to be the motor section of it here. And that motor has a little scroll bar hanging out the front of it. In order to get that off, all you do is pull that little tab back the way, okay? Once that tab comes off, it might be a two-handed job, but it may not be. And then everything starts moving when you're trying. Oh no, it's just okay. That is that disassembled. Now I don't know what the 2 smaller wires are, but I know the 2 outer ones are for the actual motor to run itself. So in theory, I should be able to send power in here and here. And if I swap polarity, it should run the opposite way. So this should run one way and then run the opposite way. That's what should happen. We'll try and get a bench test on this thing now, just to prove my concept or my thought process. Okay guys, I have 2 jumper cables off my trusty little, what do we call it? Battery pack, booster pack. You can see the 4 connections in shot. There's, not great. There's one of them. There's the other. Trust me when I tell you that these 2 pins are live, okay? When I connect one of them onto here and one of them onto here, I have nothing. A second ago I got a kind of a half a zzz, and she stopped. I'm not even going to try and force it anywhere. You can see, I can hear a spark. Okay, not a thing happening there. So at this point in time, what I'm heading for is I am now going to, whoa, my tray. Oh, you silly Billy. Right, just disconnect. It's the easiest thing to I suppose not the best solution in the world, is it? A stainless steel tray. That was a good idea one time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off this thing, try and get in, have a look. I believe the brushes are up at this side of the motor rather than back here. That's what I'm going after anyway. I'll get you into the next shot of these brushes if we can find them for you, okay? Or sure. Okay. I've pulled out the 2 self-tapper bolts out of it, and I've just slid the top of it. So that slides off nice and easy off the top of it. When I'm looking in then at my motor, I suppose the first thing visually I can see is it kind of looks burnt, or has there a lot of arcing been happening here? I don't know. I can see the brushes are kind of making contact now at this point in time, so, oh no, okay. The minute I actually done that, I don't know if you can see it, I can see a gap. So if I move side to side, I'm creating actually something happened there, look, it says there. But I'm definitely creating a gap at the other side. Can you see that? Probably not that visible on camera. Yeah, and you can see the gap at this point. I can see it, and it's hard to see it on camera though. Okay, anyway, those are the 2 brushes that we're going to do. Now I can't tell you that I'm that familiar that I'm going to can tell you straight out of my head, but I do know that I think these little pieces or tabs come off on the back And I'm going to try and get a set of brushes into compressor going. Okay guys, the next bit I've done is sitting in there. Really small little torques. We have 2 of them there. There's one, if you can see it, not really, in there at the back, right in the center of the screen now. Hard to see it, but it is in there. The light is there, it's actually focused on it there now. That one and that one here, as I said. And then at that point, I'm trying to wingle and wongle this thing out, okay? This is a two-handed job, so that disassembly bit is nearly not going to be shown. This wheel spins and pushes the push rod in the master cylinder, but I'm going to be able to twist that rotor off the middle of that, out of the middle of the motor, out, twist it out to get it off of this thing. So that's what I'm going to do next. And yeah, it should all hopefully come out. I suppose these pins, the pins that are in there have to follow suit and have to come out also, them ones that are in there. So they're coming out with me as I'm going, okay? And once we've that out, then we'll see more. Okay guys, that didn't come out quite as easy as planned. I thought it was just going to slide back for me, but it didn't work. On this side of it, there's a little grout that comes off. So on the end of that actual shaft, I had to push that out of my way. On the end of that shaft, I have this little stop piece, whatever it came out, and then I have to try and tap the shaft out off a bearing here in order to get it out of the plastic housing. Yeah, that is my next protocol. Now all this is loose to come and ready to come with me. So you can see all this piece is ready to come, the brush pack and all that stuff. But I just need to get the shaft to come through. Right, let's go and do that. Okay guys, we are out. That's probably the hardest part of the operation. Well, one of the hardest parts. What did I actually do there? I got this piece and I sat it in a vise, and I sat the vise underneath that ledge there. And on the other side, the vise just held up against that piece here. Okay. And then I gave a little tap on the shaft on the top. Now, maybe it wasn't so bad, but anyway, I would say that you're kind of cautious because it's plasticky and all that crack. Okay, now our brushes, one of them is actually good, and then one of them you can see here. I'll get my fingers out of the way. You can see here that it's actually up to the end of its travel here. Whereas the other one does look like it has a lot of travel on it. So it's only this one that the problem is. Where as well, what I would see is that this is kind of sticking. It is coming out, but it's not falling out of it. This one, you can see, it pops out and out right easy. That one is just not quite so much. I can't see it on the video. I know it isn't. It does come out in all fairness, but just doesn't feel quite as good as the opposite side. Okay, try and get a job done in these. Whatever I'll do, try and buy a bit of time out of it. Okay guys, nothing fancy to this. These brushes have been done before, but it just felt like they were sticking, and also I felt like they weren't coming out far enough. And all I've done is got a file, and I kind of cleaned down the side of them and took the little spring, bent back the little tabs on the back. The other side is like that. And I took out that little spring. The little spring is going to go back in. And then I'm going to, I think once I feel I'm happy enough, I'm going to clean up this. Once I feel I'm happy enough and this thing is actually making contact now, I nearly put it back together. This is my way. It's getting a normal thing. It's getting dark. And I actually had a set of brushes lined up running out of a power tool or whatever. But that's what in theory I was going to use, but I don't really like the size of it. Because of that then, I'm thinking that I'm better off to stick with what I have right now. And I'm going to reassemble this in a better way, I believe. Okay, I have this thing reassembled. I'm happier that this thing is nearly falling out in theory, like the other side. Sorry, that's me swapping my hands, but you can see the way that side is kind of falling out. And the other one is very much the same, so it's not sticking like it was. At this stage, I'm going to call that good enough to reassemble. I think they were sticking more than actually worn. I bent the wire that was hanging on the back, but just to give it a bit more. That wire on top was held up the way. So look, I don't know. They lasted for 2 years prior, so hopefully this is enough to last for another 2 years. Fingers crossed. Maybe more, I don't know. Well, we get cross that bridge when we come there. I might actually measure these, that if ever I do need to change the brushes, I'll actually know. For now anyway, I'm going to put it back together. I've also cleaned up the rotor, just, I don't know, in case of making a contact issue, but before we reassemble it, just so you can see that, okay? I think that's going to be okay. We're going fully to each side and the brushes are fully travelling out with it, so I'm calling that, well, at this point, okay, so I'm going to reassemble as planned. The reassembly process, guys, I'm only using a vice. So all I'm doing is squeezing it slowly together. That's it. Back to the little screws holding in them little bits. I should have pointed out earlier, guys. They're a size 6 Torx, okay? Very small, but I have a little kit. Then head interchanges on them, and you can change these. You know what? This head interchanges, and the handle is only the one handle, okay? But that's size 6 anyway, T6. Okay, guys, we are reassembled. Okay, well, the motor part of it is back together. I'm just trying to do a little bench test for you, just for you to see. We have my, again, 2 little pins or probes out, and I'm just going to try the outside, 2 outside wires again. Okay. I'm going to swap polarity. One side, or at least one way, is pulls against, I don't know, maybe a spring or something inside in the, against a spring inside here or something, because it ricochets back in the way quite easy. But when it's going back the opposite way, it actually has to work. The motor has to work to pull it, you know, pull it back on the way back in and back. These yokes are very expensive. That's the reason I'm trying to make it work. And then if you get a second-hand one, how long does the actual second-hand one work? I know it mightn't be very tidy here, but you're getting to see the raw base of it. I just looked at my video and I just thought it wasn't great. So right now we have movement here. I had no movement prior. So whatever I've done, I have improved this. This thing is going back together. I'm going to get the module on it and get a bolt back up in the car. I'll show you that stuff. Module coming back. Block connector back in, tab across. Time for our module to go back together now and to be closed up. Everything's intact with springs in here and stuff, so it's all, yeah, just going to sit back together now. Hopefully quite easy. Run in a couple of bolts around here and start getting it back into the car. Module back together, 8 or 10 bolts, squares up, little cover back on the end. We believe our motor is working, and it's time to bring her back in and stick it back on the car. We're kind of half out from underneath it here beside my toolbox. Yeah, time to get it I was going to say time to get it refitted, but I think we have one more or two more little pieces to put in here, haven't I? One or two of these brackets and a rubber or so. Okay, and the next thing is going to be me putting it back in, lads. Box up and in. Cover going back on now. Wiring, block connectors and stuff stuck in where they should be. Yeah, time to get this thing covered up and back in place. Okay guys, from underneath I'm at the sticking on the hydraulic pipe, the clip that goes on around it, little bolt holding on the end of the pipe. I'm at putting on the brake fluid feed pipe on, taking off my little clamp. I have the box loosely hanging on. There's another bolt up the front. I actually put that back in. I took it out up top, but I put it back in there just before I hung this thing up there. But it's actually hanging here loosely now, but everything is connected, so I'm going to go back up at this stage and then reassemble my nuts and bolts and put in my battery and stuff. Leave off the under tray for now and just make sure this thing is working, that we can do our clutch bleeding maybe, or whatever actuator test we were doing. I can't even remember what it was called, clutch movement or complete movement or whatever it was. Yeah, okay, we have this thing back together, and what am I going to do? I cleared all faults. At this point in time, I'm going to try the clutch fluid air bleeding and see what happens, okay? So you're getting to see this firsthand. Confirm the conditions before continuing this function. Gear shift and neutral. Yes, the engine is not running. Yes, scanner will now prepare. It might ask me to press the brake, and I don't know if the brake is pressed. Oh gosh, no communication. Exit and retry. Okay, right, I'm going to continue on until this thing actually works, because I have seen this before. It done something weird like this on the first video, and I had to actually swap scan tools. And when I swapped scan tools, it worked. So maybe I'll even have to disconnect the Bluetooth module inside in the car or something like that. But yeah, look, I'll go back. No communication. Okay, I'll get this communication back and we'll see where we go. I didn't do a whole lot. I only came out and went into engine, or back in. I didn't clear codes. Oh, I did, sorry, I cleared all faults. So right, all codes are gone out of this adjustment. Let's just see what happens now. Static learning, clutch. I'm going to do clutch fluid air bleeding. I'm going to try that, and hopefully on this occasion she will do what she's meant to do. Turn the ignition off and wait. That's that silly crack again. It's going to take 1 minute, 10 minutes, or what, I actually do not know. Okay, switch the ignition on, he says. The ignition back on. Okay, establishing base conditions. I have fluid in our lever down here. The scanner will now perform automatic bleeding. Maintain fluid to the max line via the fill cap during the process. Process takes approximately 7 minutes. Wow, scanner will sound an alert when the stage is finished. The system bleed, okay? Now there is no... Oh, I'm looking for fluid. I saw a bubble of air here a moment ago. I can see a slight movement of that lever. It's more promising than it was anyway. We had no noise whatsoever prior. I'm aware it's not focusing. There you go. Seven minutes it is. It's going to do. Once it's actually doing something, isn't it better than what we were doing? We were doing absolutely zero. So I'm just going to leave it carry on with this skin because you definitely don't want to see 8 minutes of zzz. I'm going to make sure I keep this topped up, but outside of that, seems to be working, doesn't it? As soon as it beeps, or whatever it does, I'll let you know, okay? Okay guys, I start putting on the under tray. Clutch fluid air bleeding is complete. Okay, so we're going to continue. It's done, okay? We're going to get faults cleared now in a second. I'm going to continue sticking on my gear selectors and stuff up there. I'm going to continue sticking in a couple of bolts in my under tray and then we'll get it down and have a look. See what this thing's. Okay lads, we're back. Down under tray in place or in situ. First thing I noticed when I jump in, which is a bonus just as I was jumping in there. So in theory we're in a gear. Okay. I was going to have a look at codes here. Well, this stage anyway, I'm going to suggest that we won't have any. Okay, we get back out of this. My legs will I? Probably should. Look, maybe we'll leave the scan too long. Okay, brake pressed. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, says the man. Savagery. Well, hey. We're rolling. Maybe we do. The headlight's coming off again, guys. Douche. Ooh. Okay. A little bit of brain power in that, as in you're overriding what you kind of see and you're going for what you want. Not what you want to be wrong, what you know nearly to be wrong in your gut. How do you have a starting issue with a clutch? But I think once the transmission can't select a gear or release the clutch or any of that, it won't start due to the potential of it being in a gear. And if it's in a gear and it can't operate a clutch, well, it's not going to jump forward, hurt anyone and create any safety implications. It's my thought process. No good in starting anyway, sure, if it won't drive, like. That is I don't know. That's it. I've done this before. I'll say it here and I'm going to put it back at the start, maybe this again, because one of the key items is that there's this, I measured the brushes in this thing. They're 6mm square, okay? And as I said there, I'll put it at the start. Now, unless someone wants to watch this, if we're going to do the iShift job themselves and they want to watch this from start to finish, I know some lads will watch snippets along the way. And if they do, I don't know, I hope they catch that 6mm bit. This has been one sitting. So because I've done this before, and I wouldn't say familiar with it, it's 2 years ago since I've done it. I brought it in about 6:30, 6 o'clock actually, I was going to say nearly 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's kind of 9:30 now. So in theory, if you have a set of 6mm brushes, it's a 3 to 4 hour job. It's not that hard. The tutorial that I'm giving now should be fairly on the ball because I'm trying to show, while I was on my trolley here, the bits that you get caught on, the tools you need, the 6mm T6 Torx or Torex, the 5-sided thing with the, I don't even know what you call it, with the hole in the middle of it. Those couple of tools, if you have those tools and you have a bench vise, you can do this yourselves, lads. It's not that big of a deal. 3 hour ordeal, yes, as big as doing a clutch maybe in a caddy, but that's as big as it is. She starts, she runs. P0810, all this F communication and whatever the heck, I'm not paying any attention to that. It's running, and I believe that's just having wrong information, making modules not be happy with what they're getting. But for this one, lads, 09 Honda Civic, she's going. with some kind of dust falling off me. Yeah, get some of the juice for it. But other than that, petrol. Other than that, guys, yeah, I hope this one is somewhat useful to some of you, and maybe it will aid some of you to do this job. But for now, look, please like and subscribe if any of my hints and tips and pointers are any good to you, and I'll see you all in the next cartoon. Peter Kennedy signing out, boys. Talk to you later.